Hello, we're going to show you how to solve a battleships puzzle. This is a battleship screen. You see how we've got this grid, and somewhere in this grid are hidden these different ships. There's a 4-ship, I call that the battleship. There's a couple of 3 ships called cruisers, 3 doubles, destroyers, and 4 submarines. And they're hidden somewhere in this grid. Now, the way you can tell information about it is there's a few clues to help you find where the battleships are hidden. One is that they give you a couple of pieces. So this is a little submarine right here. They gave you that for free. This space right here is water. They gave you that for free. And finally, there's a space up here. And if you notice, that space looks like a square. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? But the important thing to notice is that means that must be the middle of one of these long ships, because everything else has a curved side to it. Or if it's a submarine, it's a round. It's just a circle. So that's the middle of a ship up there. The other clues you get these numbers along the side. And what this is telling you is the number of ship spaces there are in each row or in each column. So in this top row, there's 3 of the 10 squares here have ship stuff in them. This next row has 2, this next row has 5, and so on. A row with 0 doesn't have any ships along that row, and same for the columns. The one last clue that's very important to know is that no ships can be next to each other. The word we use is adjacent. No ships can be adjacent to each other, even diagonally. So, for example, this submarine right here, because there's a ship right there, and this is the total extent of the ship, that means there can't be any ships around it. And I just held down the left click and traced it, and it automatically put water in there for me. So at the beginning of this puzzle, you first want to notice any spaces where you know there is ship stuff or where there can't be ship stuff, and mark those things, the things that you know from the very beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause for a second, and I'm going to let you think about it for a while and see what you come up with. And I suggest that you pause this recording, and then that way you can talk about it and see what you notice yourselves. Okay, I just waited for a little bit so you had time to pause it. Hope you did. And so here are the sort of immediately obvious things that you could put in. So you can notice the zeros. So any 0 means there's all water there, and you could fill it in with water. If you go to this website, then a cool thing you can do is just click on the number, and it automatically fills everything in with water. So I'm going around and I'm going to do all the zeros. There's no ships in any of those. And then I can look for rows or columns that are what I call done, meaning they've got as much water or as much ship in them as they possibly can have. Like this one right here. There already is 1 ship there, so all this stuff must be water. If you've already marked the one space that's ship, you can click on the number and it automatically fills everything else with water, because that's the one ship space that this thing's identifying. Another one I notice is this middle one up here. So this is the middle of a ship. Well, since I can't go outside the grid, that means the ship has to go like this. And that's the middle, and there's 2 spaces. Why did I stop there? Because this was only a 3, and the only way I could extend it is to go further, but that would make me a 4, and then I'd violate this 3 that's sitting here. Every time you put in a ship, and you know the size of the ship, and you know that it's done, then go ahead and fill the spaces around it with water because of the no adjacent rule. There's a little more that you can do that's become obvious since we've started what we've done. All right, here are the couple other obvious things. This 1 here means that this column's done. Boom, because there's my 1. And this 3 and this 3 means that this one's done too. Oh, and one last one. I just noticed this 1 means this column's done also. Okay, so now you want to take a look and see what to do next. We've done all the obvious ones, so now we have to look for more subtle ones. So you'd look around, go, I wonder where there's ship stuff. And I'll give you a hint now. Whenever you work with puzzles, you learn a few tricks that are things to look for that make your life easier. And in this one, it's the battleship. Fitting a ship that's 4 spaces long in one row or one column is tricky. There's not a lot of places it can go because it's so big. It's a lot easier to fit the small ships all over the place, but the 4 ship is tough to fit. Take a look right now and see if you can figure out where it's going to go, because there's only one space that can house it. Well, one thing you can notice is you can notice the numbers. So if we're going to have a 4 ship somewhere, then the row or the column number is going to have to be a 4 or bigger. So here's this 5, but there's no 4 spaces in a row where I could put the ship. There's a 4 here. Oh, same problem. There's a 4. Well, that's the only 4 that's left. And it's got 4 spaces in a row where I can put the ship. I guess I can do that. Fill in the spaces around it with water. Notice that it's turned gray because we've put that ship on the board. Notice now this column's done. And this row is done. Okay, what should we look for next? Take a look and see if there's any situations where you know a ship has to be or where a ship can't be. And I'll give you a hint. It involves what we just did, which is putting these 4 spaces in, putting the water in, and then putting the water in here. It's a toughie, but if you look down here, this 2 down here, and there's only the 2 spaces right there, means that these both have to be ship. Nothing next to that ship. There we go. Now the next one I could spot is right next to it because I filled those spaces in. I took away those spaces. Now there's only 3 spaces left for this 3. Boom, boom, boom. Now there's 2 ships here and a 2 right there, so this has to be water. Now I notice I'm looking at the big numbers here. I got this 4 right here. I need to fit 4 ship space. 1, 2, 3, and then the one that's already done. So all of those have to be ship. Now one thing to notice here is I don't know if there's something next to this because this could be a sideways ship or it could be a single one. But I do know there's nothing next to this ship, and this has to be a vertical ship here, so I can clear these spaces out. This gives us a bunch of stuff and pretty much finishes the puzzle for us. The 2 here is done. There's only 3 spaces in this column. I'm short a 3. I only have 1 3 up here in the 4. I'm short a 3, so it has to be here because I'm running out of room. There's my 1 for this one. There it is up there, so fill that in with water. The 3 is done here. Boom. And this last one must be a ship. Boom, boom. And we got the puzzle. And that's how you do it.